Welcome. I am Collins Trott, Child Development Faculty on the Wallace Community College, Dothan campus. In this episode, we are going to be learning about families today. For a teacher, one very important role is collaborating with families. Although many teachers might prefer to concentrate only on the children who enter the classroom, each day children live in the context of their families, and their families are the most important and lifelong influence on their development. Teachers must understand those family contexts and respect the uniqueness of each family while bringing them into the child's educational world as full partners. The families with whom a teacher works may not resemble the teacher's own and may be quite unlike each other in their structure, family lifestyle, and values, cultural influences, and relationships. As America grows increasingly diverse, teachers need to prepare themselves to recognize, appreciate, and work with such diversity. So join me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about families today. The family is the most adaptable of human institutions and is able to modify its characteristics to meet those of the society in which it lives. A family is a small group of intimate, transacting, and interdependent persons who share some values, goals, resources, and responsibilities for decisions, and have a commitment to one another over time, and to accept the responsibility of bringing up children. The U.S. Census Bureau defines family as two or more people related through blood, marriage, or adoption who share a common residence. Certainly, the family has adapted to much in recent decades. Urbanization, a consumer-oriented economy, economic uncertainty, wars and terrorist attacks, changes in traditional religious and moral codes, increasing cultural diversity, and changes in all relationship basics to family life, including, but not those limited to those between male and female and young and old. Rather than suggest that the family is under siege, it is more accurate to suggest that our image of family may need to broaden to accept diversity. It may be more important to concentrate on what families do rather than what they look like. There is no question that today's families are functioning under conditions different from those of their grandparents or even parents. Changes in family form and functions are not necessarily bad or worrisome unless one insists on clinging to the past, maintaining the exclusive rightness of bygone ways. Some recent trends in contemporary life influencing the nature of families include marital instability and rising numbers of single parents, changes in gender role, behavior, mobility, urbanization, and economic conditions, decreasing family size, increased rate of social change, development of a child-centered society, and stress in modern living. Although there is no question that many single parents do a remarkable job of parenting, a single-parent family can face additional difficulties. A growing body of social and scientific data indicates that children in families disrupted by divorce and birth outside of marriage often do worse than children in intact families in several respects. In the absence of one parent, families often have less social and human capital to draw upon, leading to increased risk for poverty and stress. Society has been pushed to alter its expectations regarding the roles of family members, and individuals are caught between trying to balance the external realities and demands and the internal psychological conflict caused by attempting a new social pattern. The jury is still out on what impact the different patterns of family roles and parenting have on family members. Certainly, there are more opportunities for personal growth with alternative forms which to choose freely. Children have a more inclusive family model as an increasing number of fathers take on the loving and nurturing aspects of parenthood, and an increasing number of mothers take on leadership roles outside as well as inside the home. Changes in roles have opened doors for everyone. With changing economic and employment patterns, many workers and their families move frequently in the search for a new and better job. The current economic climate has brought enormous stress to contemporary families. Unemployment and underemployment have become common problems in families from all social and economic classes. The resultant financial and emotional problems have increased stress for parents and children and often created other reasons for mobility and isolation. Current statistics indicate the average family has shrunk over the years. A major reason is delayed marriage and childbearing, with increased standards of education and career expectations. Additional reasons include the economic burden of raising children in times of inflation, with no corresponding asset of children's economic contributions to the family's unit. Changing attitudes about women roles in the home and workplace. Increased expectations for the family living standards and material wants. Changing views about marriage and cohabitation. The move from rural to urban environments. And current views about parent-child relationships. Parents in a relatively static society encounter less difficulty than those in a society where social change occurs rapidly and drastically, as in our country for the past 4 decades and more. A generation gap develops when adults play increasingly complex roles in a world for which their own parents could not prepare them, and when parents try to help their own children face a world they cannot yet imagine. It is not a comfortable world where parents can simply produce children like themselves, but a new world where parents are unsure about their best actions and decisions. A world of challenge and potential, but also of stress. For today's fathers and mothers, the rate of change is dizzying as upheaval occurs in every major institution in society. Major discontinuities in relationships among people develop as changing values, laws, and norms of behavior result in a different way of life. All this change makes parents unsure of themselves, and they worry about almost everything that touches their lives and their children's. More than one expert has pointed out how the child's role in the family in society has evolved over the centuries, particularly in current times in the Western world. In earlier times, a child was measured harshly by the yardstick of the adult world and restricted to fit into it. But in modern America, a child is the darling of their own world. The efforts psychologists and other researchers are directed more towards telling parents what they should do and should not be doing to nurture their children, and large parts of current research and thinking concerning child development is available to parents in a variety of ways. A generation ago, it seemed that shorter work weeks due to modern technology would make life easier for many families. Unfortunately, that dream was never realized. Today, adults are working harder than ever. As parents feel overloaded at their work, their emotional well-being suffers. Much of this stress is related to economic changes, declines in real wages, demands for a more highly skilled and educated workforce, increasing technology, creating competition for jobs, and an increased cost of raising children. Parents may not have real choices about the time spent in work and apart from family. For many families in lower socioeconomic circumstances, stress may be caused not by fulfilling responsibilities to children's social lives, but by carrying a heavy workload to provide necessities of daily life for their children. Often, parents are working more than one job, working odd shifts, and keeping appointments with the community agencies for needed support, so they have little time for either their children or themselves. Beginning teachers may wonder why the conditions in society that currently affect families are a topic that deserves their attention. In fact, it is vital to effective relationships with families to understand the conditions and circumstances in which they live. It is too easy for teachers to set up a kind of oppositional stance and us against them mentality, to judge parents as somehow not measuring up to some sort of ideal standards of what parents are supposed to do. But when the larger picture of changes in our entire society is considered, it becomes clear that all of us are caught up in and affected by the trends that change the face and functioning of families. Rather than judging families against some artificial standard, or perhaps the way we never were, it is vital that teachers be able to recognize the forces that influence the thinking of us all. Empathy and the compassion needed to work with people very different from ourselves are the result of seeing contemporary families against the backdrop of the real world in which we now live. Studying sociological trends may keep other teachers from making the error of confusing the form of family with its ability to carry out its functions. It is important for teachers to focus not on family composition, but rather on family disposition, such as beliefs, values, and behaviors. Now let's review what we've learned. The new demographics mean the American family and the growing up experience of many of our nation's children and their families have been drastically altered. Definitions of family have been broadened to include many family structures and ways of functioning. Factors that influence family life include marital instability and rising number of single parents, changes in role behavior, mobility, economic conditions, and immigration, decreasing family size, increased rate of social change, development of a child-centered society, and stress in modern living. That wraps us up for this episode. You can learn more about this topic by reviewing the resources posted in your course. As always, if you have any questions, please contact me or your instructor. Thanks for joining me, Miss Trott, as we learn all about families today. See you next time.